You have a lion that basically says, I'm here to female lions and eat people. Yeah. And I'm all out of female lions.
Double Toasted live in Las Vegas. That's going to be October 8th.
I'm a fan of killer animal movies.
Me too,
There's some great ones. Some of the greatest cinematic achievements in history feature killer animals. Mm-hmm. Steven Spielberg's Jaws. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Obviously, we have Anaconda of John Voight.
I knew it. I was like,
incredible.
He's going to get Jaws and then have nowhere to go.
You have Australia. They had Razorback, but that's Australia's basically Skull Island over there. Everything is giant and poisonous and deadly. But hey, we have a new killer animal movie brought to theaters, and so often we just don't get those. Like they're few and far between.
Yeah, especially with a lion. Like the last one I can remember is The Ghost in the Darkness.
I was just about to say.
With Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, yeah. Which I love that movie.
Me too.
I do too.
Super underrated, and I actually want to talk about that briefly after our review for Beast. Maybe make some comparisons for that. But,
I read the book.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, yeah. No, awesome. But yeah, Chap. Before we go ahead and get into more details about Beast, I want to show you the trailers of Idris Elba's adventures in Africa and how he tries to fight a CGI lion. Enjoy.
Hey, look out the window.
Dad, please!
I mean, when you're starting off your movie immediately with Idris Elba just running away, how can you not laugh at that? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Where did he go?
I was actually initially really looking forward to this movie.
Yeah.
Really?
And yes, I'm a big fan of killer animal films.
Okay, yeah.
I think they're a lot of fun, and most of the time it's just the idea of man versus nature.
Yeah.
Because you already feel engendered towards the character who is trying to survive against the monster, the creature, or whatever.
Sure.
And so I was like, okay, and it's a simple, straightforward premise. Usually they're relatively short, and they're like, okay, this is great. This is exactly what I want. And so I was hoping that this movie would be something like a Jaws or a Ghost in the Darkness or even
The Edge.
Crawl.
You remember that?
I do love The Edge.
Yeah.
Is great. Have you guys never seen The Edge? Anthony Hopkins, Alec Baldwin, and a grizzly bear,
Yep.
and then dealing with their own interpersonal issues as well. It's super, super fun. This focuses on Dr. Nate Samuels, who's played by Idris Elba, who's a recent widower. He's estranged from his daughters, and he's taking them to South Africa, where he originally met his wife, taking her to the original village, and so they can have like a bonding moment, just reconnect. And you're meeting with their favorite white man, Sharkto Copley, who, funny enough, is actually like downplaying it. He's not like the crazy Sharkto Copley we often see.
That was the earliest Sharkto Copley, but I've seen him in some things after that where I'm like, oh, I actually kind of like this guy when he's pulls
he's calm.
Yeah, when he's calm. But I gotta say, I haven't seen a lot of Sharkto Copley movies, but I don't think he survived any of them.
Well, I'll let you know if that's if that happens here. I know, he's alive. He's alive right
one.
there.
Okay.
He's good. He's just telling like all the black people, stay back there. I got you.
That's fine. Yeah.
It's fine. But that's the official premise. They're going there, and they're there to have some family time in Africa.
Okay.
That sounds great. The thing is, I'm like, that's a nice little wholesome description of the movie, and they encounter a killer lion. The real premise of this movie is that you have a lion that basically says, I'm here to female lions and eat people. Yeah. And I'm all out of female lions. That is the premise of this movie. That's what this movie opens up with. Because I will say, at the top, I'm like, oh, I'm in for some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Because this movie opens up with all these poachers going after this pride.
Yeah.
And slaughtering all of them.
Yeah.
But one. Yeah. And that lion says, you, I'm gonna hunt all of you down, and I don't even care. Like, if you have two legs, if you're walking on two legs, I'm gonna come after you too.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
Usually, like, I can't distinguish who it was,
right?
But walking on two legs, that's enough for me.
Yeah, and I think that's like initial great premise. So it's like, oh, this is a solid start,
dude.
This is gonna be a winner.
You winning me back over.
Yeah.
Now I'm dying to.
Sure.
Well, wait a second here.
Yeah, there's other things. That's the thing. And I do want to start with the positive. Like, I think it has a very strong, solid opening, establishing the threat. And one thing I will say, because there's one thing I was concerned about, like in the trailers for this, is that I felt like the CGI for the lion looked a little iffy. It looked a little goofy to me. But for the most part, I feel like the CGI for the lion, a lot of the technical aspects of this film are quite good.
Okay.
You know, that's like, I have really very little to criticize in that regard. I also think the cinematography and the choreography for like the action scenes are great. What they have the lion do, I think, is really cool, and you know, it sets up the stakes and the tension. Like, there are some fun, you know, tense scenes in this movie, and also the director, who sounds like a Star Trek character, Balthazar Kormacher. You know,
that's a total.
Yeah.
You got
It's Klingon.
You got to put a phlegm in your throat when you say that.
Balthazar Kormacher. He's a big fan of doing like long takes, single shots.
Okay.
And it makes those scenes like very tense in the beginning.
Okay.
Like, we go from like the initial scene for the most part, just like, oh, I mean, they clearly do some careful edits. Like, we go over like a really dark bush, and it's like, okay, you edited there. But for the most part, you don't notice.
Okay.
Like, unless you're like super eagle eyes, like, okay, this is great. And they do that too with like when Idris Elba gets there, Sharlto Copley and his daughters, and they're dealing with all the the various threats and finding all these dead bodies after the lion has gone on his rampage. You're like, wow, I'm really digging this. And actually, I want to open up. I mean, Martin, you had seen some of the opening of this film.
Yeah, just the very beginning.
Did you-
where the poachers massacre the lions.
Yeah. Did you like that opening scene? I mean, I know
Yeah,
it
it seemed fine.
Yeah. What about you, Vanny? Well, how did you feel about the technical aspects of this movie, the line itself, and just the opening of the movie?
I think the opening was great because it did set up just a really tense, just sort of moment there. Like, what's going to happen now with like you have like that one lone lion who's humongous in a like a
Man-eater.
poachers, a man-eater, yeah. Where I think I may disagree a little bit is like, especially towards the end with the lion, like it looked super CG at that point. Like, I almost to the point where like, is this like a lion, or is this like if the term Skynet made a lion kind of thing? Like, this thing survived a lot of stuff, and it just looked so just like a Final Fantasy boss at the end.
A video game character, basically.
That's kind of how I felt about the mountain lion and Prey. So I get it. Like, that kind of thing. Most of the time, I feel like you can go with it, but sometimes if it pops you out, then
by the end, it looked more like right there. All right. By the end, it looked less like a lion and more just like a CG monster to me.
I really like the CGI. Even the sequence at the end of the film, which you're referencing, I dug quite a bit. Like, all the line stuff works. I think that's great. For what they have in the movie. The problem is that the film is just bogged down by some terrible characters. And some, in my opinion, some just atrocious dialogue. I feel like, Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley, for the most part, they power through it.
Oh, yeah.
Idris Elba is a very well-accomplished actor. He's great. He's been in so many great films. Sharlto Copley, we're back and forth on him constantly. But for the most part, he's not crazy. He seems like a normal human being.
Yeah.
Right.
And he does the best that he can with the dialogue that he's given.
100%.
And they don't come across as, just awkward or obnoxious. The thing about this movie that bothers me is the fact that we have these two unnecessary characters, which are Idris Elba's daughters.
Well, you can't say they're unnecessary.
Yeah.
They're the whole thing that's driving him.
I don't give a shit. Because these two kids are, in my opinion, some of the worst child characters that I have seen in a film in a very long time.
Yeah.
They are written to be petulant, rude, and obnoxious and precocious from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, immediately, they don't listen. Immediately, they come with that attitude towards Idris Elba, towards anyone they come across, like, well, I don't give a damn. I'm going to do what I want to do. It's like, you're in a whole new place, and already I'm like, where is this lion so then they can just eat them now? They can end this.
It's unfortunate that kids are written this way
Yes.
so often.
Right.
And it bothers the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because, they're always making them petulant. The biggest thing they do with kids is that they make them not listen. And
Yes, they do.
And I'm like, listen, that is not my experience with my kids. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't kids out there who are rebellious and don't listen, but it's not all of them.
Yeah. That's the thing. This is what this movie does, is that it establishes you already have a instant conflict with the lion. Like that you have that outside threat. And that's really all you need. But for whatever reason, for a lot of these, just a lot of films in general, even for the worst of killer animal movies, we need to bring in this human dramatic element, because it's the lion's not going to be enough, and so we got to make sure that you have these characters who are just resentful towards each other, and it sets up, in my opinion, a faux conflict.
Yes.
And in their minds, the faux conflict will just be the kids are just rude and obnoxious, and that'll create a crazy situation, and that'll lead to more action scenes. The thing is, when you do is that you breed resentment towards those characters, and where I'm not cheering for them to eventually get out of this and succeed and survive. It's no, what I'm doing is now I want them to get eaten by this goddamn thing. There are multiple scenes, and again, I'm not attacking these actors. It's the material that they're given.
Yeah.
Of course, because you have Iana Haley, who plays the eldest of the daughters, Meredith Samuel. She's the one with the dreadlocks. And then you have Leia Sava Jeffries as Nora, who has the afro in there, and she's the younger daughter. But the thing is, it's just there are countless scenes where they are running off and they're told, don't run off. And they run off anyway. Immediately afterwards. Yeah. Stay in my eye line, stay in my eyesight, and they're not in the eyesight. And it sets up these tense scenes. I'm like, I hope it ends with her body being eviscerated.
They cause
that's
more
what I
problems
want.
than anything else.
They do, and that's the thing. They occasionally give them one or two between them, competent moments, but we're still having to watch all these other scenes when they're just messing things up for either Idris Elba or Shelton Copley and putting themselves in danger. And that is incredibly frustrating. The other thing about this, and actually, Vanny, I want to ask you, because I know you didn't get deep into the movie, Martin, outside the opening. What was your opinion on Idris Elba and Shelton Copley's performances, what they had to work with, and the daughters?
Yeah, let's start with the daughters. I do think you could actually take them out, and you would still have the same film, because the driving force was the mother does pass away. You can still have Idris Elba go back to Africa just to bury his wife instead, or just to reconnect, or see the in-laws, or something like that, and still have the same effect for it, where he wants to go out and visit with Charlton Copley, and then that leads to the incident at that point. I think you would actually have a tighter film at that point, because you could have the quiet moments be the flashbacks of him and his wife. Then it was there's these very tense moments where you're thinking how's Idris Elba going to get out of this, and the kids make it somehow 10 times worse by interfering somehow.
Yes.
Like them on the walkie is the worst thing that could have ever happened to Idris Elba in that movie.
I get the sense that this was very much a bare bones script.
Yes.
And that they just didn't have a lot of dialogue, and it's actually relying on Sharto Copley and Idris Elba improvising, because there's something about the way they're talking to each other. It's you're trying to sound natural, but you're not sounding natural. It's almost like you're being very careful to think about what you're going to say next to the person you're talking to.
That sounds like when you're trying to get two actors to improvise who don't really know each other.
Yes, that's what it feels like.
Very much so.
Even though I feel like Idris Elba and Sharto Copley are fine, they're solid in the film, I never get the sense that they were friends. Because they try to establish that these two have been friends for 10 years. Sharto Copley's remember when I introduced you to your wife? Yeah, of course I remember. Why are you telling me that? That's the dialogue that's the one we have.
Right.
Oh, Martin.
But they create the conflict too. Why didn't you go to the funeral?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm going to bring that up in a second. But other ones that they have, other lines that are just stellar to me, where they have, what's your Wi-Fi password? Oh, we don't have. Oh, the Wi-Fi's down for the next 10 days, and you can't call anyone. What do you mean the Wi-Fi's down and I can't call anyone?
I'm so done with this with fiction, with movies, TV shows, and especially novels I've been reading lately, where somebody's in a place where we can't get a phone signal. I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
You get a signal anywhere. Don't manufacture crises in these things.
Right.
And the thing is, they don't even come up with a reason as to why. Why is the Wi-Fi down? Why is the phone not working? It's just it just is. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Well, that sounds dangerous. You have lines like that. You have other lines again. And the thing is, the daughters, their dialogue is very improvised, and they do this weird thing. I know, Van, you picked up on this too while watching, but they do this weird thing where they end every single sentence saying the other person's name that they're talking to. It's like, the window is broken, Nora. How can the window be broken, Nora? The line might come back, Nora. I'm like, why are you speaking in that way and so awkward? And it's, to me, it's like, are they trying to, they want the audience to know these characters' names? Are they just, they feel anxious while talking to each other? It doesn't come across earnest or natural. And then you have my favorite in the movie, where Idris Elba literally says, now, this is not really a spoiler, but, you know, Sharlto Copley is indisposed for reasons. And Idris Elba goes, girls, I'll be right back. And you have his one eldest daughter go, you'll be right back? Like, when you said that, and then mom died of cancer the next day. And it's like, why are you bringing this up now? Of all the times to bring this up. And I'm like, okay. All right, it's awkward shit like that I'm like, you have to just laugh at. And that's what it is.
They're shoehorning the kids in. That's the problem. Then, like, if it was just Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley, you don't have to have any of that dialogue. It can just be them surviving. But you brought the kids in. You have to now introduce conflict with them. Like, of course, like, they're mad at their dad because you were never there when mom got sick, or like, you promised mom was going to get better. I was like, who does that now?
It's a this is not the time, and just near as I can see, those girls are too old to be doing that.
I just wish people could relax more. You know, I wish we can relax more. I hate to be at this level right now, and you know, I have someone here who wants to help me relax, help you relax, Martin, help you relax, Vanny, and thank God for him. Corey Coleman, right here, selling us some dad grass.
I hate to interrupt the flow of the show, and also sorry that I had to record this on my phone. I'm still having trouble hooking up some of my equipment, but just want to let you know that I made it safe here to Istanbul. Here's the place where we're staying right now. Pretty nice and pretty swanky, huh?
That is nice.
And I'm having a great time, but even though I'm having a great time, I still miss all of you out there. I miss the guys in the studio. Hey, thanks for holding it down. And most of all, I miss my dad. As in dadgrass, and you know why, because dadgrass is legal organic hemp that relaxes your body, but also mellows out your mind without making you sound like an idiot. At least that's what it does for me. If you know me, you know I can't smoke that other stuff without sounding stupid. But with dadgrass, my mind can be mellowed, I can have a euphoric mood, and still feel like I'm making sense and I'm a part of planet Earth. Now, please, YouTube, don't come in here messing with this video and demonetizing it, saying that we are promoting drugs or we're drug dealers. We're not, and you know this. I told you already, dadgrass is legal and made with 100% organic hemp, and the effects are still very smooth. They have a variety of CBD products, from their smokable pre-roll joints to hemp flower for all you people out there who love to cook and bake and enjoy your edibles. And also, they have the CBD tincture drops. You know, that's where you get the little dip from the bottle and put under your tongue. I like doing that because I don't like putting smoke into my body. That's a little safer for me. I'm asthmatic. But I wish I had some right now, because if I did, hey, I'd take the smokes too, because I'll be sitting out on this balcony right now with this great view, enjoying myself. But I can't, because I couldn't bring any dadgrass with me, or tinctures or anything else. But you know what? You can. In fact, tell you what. Go get some dadgrass and get 20% off on me. That's right, go to dadgrass.com/toasted for 20% off your first order. Hey, I want to thank Dadgrass for sponsoring and supporting this part of the show. And even though I'm not there, you know I love it whenever you support our show too. So thank you very much. And I will see you when I return. In the meantime, though, back to the show.
But, you know, getting back to the review, there's a couple things that I also wanted to mention. The movie just, you know, I mean, I've already indicated that it engages in numerous tropes. And, of course, it definitely has those, like, nightmare tropes and dream tropes. It's like, oh, you feel like this is happening,
weird.
it was
package.
a dream. It was a nightmare. Yeah.
It has the ancestral plane in it from Wakanda.
It does have the ancestral plane, which is nice.
really?
Yeah. I mean, Black Panther's so popular, Martin. You know, I mean, you got to put that in there.
Right.
But the thing about this, I was like, you know what? I respect this movie. I have some respect for it, technical aspects, sure, but I respect the balls of this movie to trick me, not once, not twice, but 3 times with a nightmare dream sequence, one after the other. I've never seen that before in a horror film or any film. They literally have a scene, this I don't mind spoiling, where, you know, they have the typical nightmare sequence where, oh, everyone's gone. Where are they again? They get killed by the lion, wakes up. Oh, what happened? And then they have another sequence in which that they're visited by their dead wife,
Yep.
who was contacting him from the ancestral plane. And then they have another one where they're talking to like Sharto Copley and the girls, and that doesn't happen either. And you have Idris Elba waking up for a third time in a row.
So it's Inception inside of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes. Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
that's
Exactly. Man, if Freddie Krueger was in this movie, that'd be great. Now that'd be a hell of a
God.
goddamn twist.
Yep. Wow.
But it's stuff like that where it's like, you didn't even need that.
No.
Like this movie is already it's shocking. This movie's about an hour 33 minutes long, and you could probably take out like a half hour of this film
Easily, yeah.
and have like just be a 1 hour.
Well-
and to me it's just like, why did you even have that other than just get a fake scare and to maybe awkwardly indicate that, oh yeah, Idris misses his wife. There's like other things you could do.
This sounds like reshoots.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, I just feel like there's so very little and yet too much at the same time in this movie. The things that are supposed to make you feel invested, like the family dynamic, it's unnecessary and it's annoying and it takes away from the overall experience. I feel like just a simple survival story. I don't know. Even if you had the daughters in there, if you just, we are finally going to Africa and we're excited to be there. Thank you so much, Dad.
Yeah.
And they feel invested and they like that's realistic too.
Yeah.
You don't need to bring in, maybe the mom, this is where she originally was from.
Yeah.
And they're coming back to respect her. Like, why they have to manufacture this resentfulness towards Idris Elba, who we already like because it's Idris Elba. It's like, it just makes me like, well, why you hate Idris Elba? I like him. It just makes those characters come across very annoying. And you again, this makes the fatal flaw, like a lot of killer animal movies do. I want the killer animal to win. I want the lion to eat them.
Sure.
And that's what's frustrating. So even if they had all those characters in there, if they just simplified it and just had the people just be decent to each other, we could have had a much better film that I feel like could have been something like a Crawl. Overall, I do think this was a disappointment, so I'd have to give this on the double toasted scale probably a low rental. A low rental for me.
Okay.
Vanny, your wrap up thoughts and what would your rating be for this movie?
It's the same thing. Like I don't have the same affection for this genre as you do, but I was looking forward to just Idris Elba running and fighting a lion for 90 minutes to 2 hours, and you get a little bit of that. I think it runs into a lot of tropes. It's very predictable at points. You can tell where they're foreshadowing. There's moments where they introduce like another lion pride, and they do that to set up the ending sequence for it too.
True.
I think one of the things they ran into that absolutely drove me nuts was, for the most part, this line was invincible until the very end. Like, this line goes through some shit. I didn't hate it, but at the same time, like, I would never recommend it for you. It's a low rental just because it's Idris Elba, and again, I think he should be in absolutely everything. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So there you go, Marty. Marty, you gonna check it out?
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I'm gonna keep enjoying my whiskey. Yeah, chat. Sorry to disappoint you. I was hoping this would be a fun little end of the summer creature feature, and it was not. It was not. They had the material right there. They had a cool concept. Idris Elba versus a lion. And there he goes.
this should have been a Netflix.
This is very much at home on a streaming service. I feel like it would be best for you to watch it there. There's nothing that stands out where you need to see this in a theater. But who knows?